Building on a skill that we just learned in an earlier video, transferring the load, we will now apply that skill to pass a knot while lowering a climber. In this situation, I have a really long lower that's requiring 2 ropes, and so I have my 2 ropes joined together here, and that will be the knot that I'm passing. But in another application, you may have a section of damaged rope that you needed to isolate, and you may have used a knot such as the alpine butterfly or the flat overhand to isolate that damaged section of rope, and that may be the knot that you will need to move through your lower to get your climber down in one long lower. What I have set up here is a lower set up with a plate device where the brake strand is redirected and backed up with an auto block to my harness. And I am cloved into the shelf up here. I am performing my lower here, and I've come up to my knot that I'll need to pass, and I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space before that gets to my auto block backup, because later I will need a little bit more room to lower the load onto a new piece of material. In this application, the knot actually doubles as my catastrophe knot backup. So I'm backed up here, and now I need to transfer the load. So I'm going to use a cordelette, and I'll tie the clem heist here onto the load. Always test it, make sure it grabs. Right, it grabs. And you don't need much space here between your plate and your friction hitch. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it up, because later this friction hitch is going to end up over my edge here, and I want to be able to retrieve it. So it's going to start relatively close, and I'm going to tie in munter mule overhand. I'll go ahead to keep things clear. I'll back it up to my shelf, and so I've tied my munter in a manner that it is already loaded, so that when I undo this munter mule overhand, I won't have to flip my munter through the carabiner. And I'll go ahead and milk it up here, so taking the back side of the strand that will be taking the load, following it through the carabiner, pulling that side there, just so they can make sure that it's tensioned. And I'll tie my mule. And in this situation, I could do an overhand, but I also have plenty of tail, so I can just pass that tail through the bite of my mule. And that is also an effective way of making sure that that mule is backed up. So I'll lock my carabiner there. Great. So now I can take this extra amount of slack that I've left between my auto block and my knot, and I'll go ahead and lower the load down onto this friction hitch through my plate device until the load is transferred to my cordelette. Great. So now I'm going to take the rope that's on the back side of this knot I'm trying to pass, and I'm going to reattach this to the anchor in another method for lowering. And in this situation, I'll go ahead and just use a munter. I could take another locker, or I could also, this redirect isn't doing anything right now, so I could also just take the redirect out here and tie my munter right on that carabiner, but I'm not ready to take my plate out yet, because that is still a part of the safety of the climber, because we never want a climber's life to be relying on a single friction hitch. So we won't take the plate out quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and tie my munter onto this carabiner here. And I'll snug this up as much as I can. That'll help me later. So now, since this knot that I'm trying to pass doubles as my blocking knot, it is within a close enough distance right now of my plate that it is acting as a backup. So I can go ahead and remove this auto block and reattach it I'm using an auto block friction hitch here, and just keep in mind it is a single strand in case you're used to tying the auto block on a double strand for your rappels, so you might need to give yourself an extra wrap. Always check it before you commit. Great, and then I can slide and snug that up. I'm going to go ahead and tie another catastrophe knot here below this friction hitch just in case. Here we go. And now I can go ahead and remove my ATC. Clean that up. Great, so now that I've removed that, I'm ready to release the munter mule overhand cordelette until I've loaded up my secondary lowering method, this munter here. So I'll go ahead and take the tails out of that loop. And we don't want to startle the climber, so we'll go ahead and mute that mule with a fist as we pull it out. Try to avoid that pop there. And we'll go ahead and lower that down. And you see now why we wanted this munter to be snugged up as tight as we could get it, so that we don't have to lower the climber down too far before our new lowering method catches. And also now my friction hitch isn't too far away for me to retrieve it. So this is loose. I can now retrieve it and take all of this out here. And now I'm ready to continue my lower. I'll go ahead and take out my catastrophe knot. Maintaining control of the strand as I do, and I can continue on with my lower. And there we have it.